Oh, hello. Hello, and welcome back to the Film Custodian Show. I am the Film Custodian, your host, and I am back in the garage, as you can see, in the garage behind the theater that nobody goes to. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I have noticed that pretty much every film that I've seen this year, there's like nobody there, with few exceptions. With John Wick 4, there were people there. Now, to be fair, I always go to like an early showing. You know, that's usually like a Thursday evening, right? Where you get those early showings, and then of course it comes out wide on Friday. But in those early showings, yeah, there's basically nobody there. Again, with the exception of John Wick 4, there was people there for that. And actually for The Flash, even though The Flash was a bomb, there were people there for that as well. I think everybody that was going to see that film just went on the same day or the same 2 days, and then that was it. Which is really kind of the thing. I know that's a DC film, but even talking about Marvel films these days, like Guardians of the Galaxy 3 and whatnot, everyone who's going to see those movies sees it in the first like 2 or 3 days, right? And that's when they make the most money. After that, it's like a movie rarely has legs. With the exception, I think, of like Top Gun Maverick, which that played in the theater for like 5 months. I know last year when it came out, I didn't actually see that film until September, and it came out in May, I believe. So, which is a real good segue for this film. So, Dead Reckoning. Mission Impossible 7, which I've seen 3 times. So sort of the main plot is the villain is a AI, which is, you know, wreaking havoc and, you know, can possibly destroy truth as we know it. You know, these days we're dealing with all kinds of things, social media and, you know, the manipulation of information and, you know, the news outlets and blah, 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 and all the disinformation that we get these days, just because there's so much information out there. And so they took that idea and they're like, well, yeah, this makes perfect sense. Let's basically make the main villain is what's true, what's not true, and the AI is coming in and distorting all that and possibly destroying all of it, blah, blah. So all the governments are racing to find this AI, but not to destroy it, but to control it. And Tom Cruise, of course, is, you know, I don't accept that. I'm Tom Cruise. And he's gonna take over, or he's gonna hunt down the AI and destroy it. And that's the basic plot. Still speaking of villains, that's all kind of, the filmmakers were smart and realized that we need a physical manifestation of this. So they got this new guy that I've never seen before. I think he was just in TV shows and whatnot, really. And he does a pretty good job. He's kind of got that suave, like, James Bond type of villain going on. I think he does a pretty decent job. He doesn't have sort of the physical prowess or the gravitas that Henry Cavill does in, say, Mission Impossible Fallout, which I think, I don't know. I think this film is just as good as that film. I don't think it's better. But yeah, trailing into that, this movie is excellent. I think it's got all the action, it's got all the stunts that you want, and it's actually really, really funny, which makes it a lot of fun. It's silly, it knows that it's Mission Impossible, it pokes fun at itself all the time. The director, Christopher Mcquarrie, when he took over the franchise for the 5th installment for Rogue Nation, you could see the difference right away that, you know, there's got to be more of a focus on the sillier aspects, the fun aspects, and just, you know, really good action too. Like, this is silly stuff, right? I mean, and it's, at this point it's a better franchise than anything James Bond has put out since the Daniel Craig era, really since even, I would say, even like Pierce Brosnan. I mean, you go back to Pierce Brosnan, things just got too silly and too off the rails, you know, invisible cars and stuff like that. GoldenEye was the best film that Pierce Brosnan did, and then kind of in the same way, Daniel Craig's best film was his first film, Casino Royale. And it took the franchise in a more serious direction because we're coming off the heels of the Bourne trilogy. You know, the action film, in terms of like just the way that the action was choreographed and edited and everything is more serious. There's no gadgets, there's no gizmos and different things like that. And so James Bond was like, well, we need to make our franchise like that and whatnot. And I mean, for the most part, it worked, and then it slowly but surely got back into the more ridiculous. And then you've got the Kingsman franchise, which kind of makes fun of everything and at the same time becoming a parody of itself. So the market is flooded with all these super detective action adventure kind of things. But I think that what's great about Mission Impossible is that it's always stayed consistent. It is a consistent franchise. You go back to the first one all the way up until now. They're all good, right? They're all at least mid, right? They're all like, at least a 7 out of 10 in my book. I think the weakest one is probably 3, just because J.J. Abrams, just his style and what he does, there's no story there. It's just like, well, there's this cat's paw thing, and we don't know what it is, and mystery boxes, whoa, mystery boxes, we don't know what it is, whoa, it's like, and you never find out. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's just whatever. I went completely off track, as is my style as the film custodian. I'm going over here, I'm going over there, I'm going over there. So let's talk about the action. So the action in this film, I think, is very, very good. There's a couple really big set pieces. There's an excellent chase scene when they're in Rome. There's a lot of comedy involved, and it goes on for a really long time. Like, it's at least a 20-minute action scene where you got everybody's chasing everybody. You've got the CIA agents chasing, Tom Cruise. You've got these the AI faction, the people that are working with the AI. Again, the main one of the main villains, and then you've got the police, and everybody's chasing Tom Cruise, and they're running through Rome and doing all these different things, and it's really well done. It's really funny, and then there's of course at the end they're on the train, and there's the action scene which was in the trailers, which is Tom Cruise jumping off a cliff with the motorcycle. All that is really well done. Everything on the train is really well done, and it has gravity and it has weight to it. It has consequences to it. Just the character development and everything leading up to the conclusion is really, really good. The new addition of Haley Atwell, I think she does a really, really good job. She has excellent chemistry with Tom Cruise. She kind of starts off as like a thief character. One of the main plot points is this key that everybody has to get. The key that we don't know what it unlocks, but we know it has to do with AI and could be the key, literally, to destroying the AI. And so everyone's after this key. And I swear, in this story, in this movie, the word the key or the phrase the key has been used at least 100 times. And that kind of actually segues real quick into something else I was going to talk about, is that the main problem with this film is just the pacing. There is a whole lot of exposition in this film. There's scenes that go on for like 5 to 10 minutes of exposition of people going back and forth about, well, this AI, what if the AI did this and that, and what if this, and just basically sitting there explaining the plot to you in a way. So there's a lot of time doing that. I understand they need to do that in order for the audience to understand the story. I get it, but it really kind of puts the brakes on, because you have a really big action sequence. You got all this chasing going on and whatnot. And then you just come to a screeching halt to explain more about, but what if the AI knows who I am and the AI knows where we're going, blah, blah. Like, there's just a lot of exposition scenes. And the film is, it's almost 3 hours. I don't think you feel the runtime. And like I said, I've seen this movie 3 times. You don't feel it because, again, there's a lot of exposition, and so it kind of slows the film down a little bit, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt the film. I know that you need that exposition in order to get to the next thing, and then it all comes to a head, and it pays off, right? It pays off, and you get to that train sequence, and everything at the end of the film pays off because you spent the time explaining it earlier. So at the very beginning of the film, you got a great action sequence, and then after that, you've got a decent amount of explaining to do. But when you're watching it, it's pretty engaging. Again, Christopher Mcquarrie is a smart director, and he understands that, this is a lot of boring stuff we need to get through in order to get to the fun stuff. So you need to make these conversations interesting. So there's a lot of cutting back and forth, different angles. There's, they're passing the key. They take the key and they explain a thing. They pass to the next guy. He explains a thing. To try to keep everybody engaged as much as possible, rather than just sitting the camera down and having the conversation play out, which can sometimes work, but in a film like this, you need to have a certain pace and a certain rhythm. And I think, again, sometimes it slows down before it picks back up into a great action sequence. My God, it is so hot in here. It's so hot in here. It's like, living in this garage behind the theater really sucks. There's no AC in here. There's no anything. It's just really hot. This coffee isn't really helping me either. Oh, man. All right, so where were we? All right, so Haley Atwell, I think, is a great addition. She's got great chemistry with Tom Cruise. I think her character is really great. Just the acting that she brings, just in every little facial expression, and just, you know, the physicality that she has. She can pull off the stunts, and in a realistic way, too. The female characters in this film are extremely well written. I would say that these characters are strong female characters done correctly. So Disney needs to take note that this is how you do it. These are confident women that they're comfortable in their femininity, and they know how to do action. They're vulnerable too. They have challenges. They're not good at everything. You know, like Disney characters where, you know, it's just like Captain Marvel or Rey. It's like they're just automatically good at everything and they have no growth. In this film, all of these characters have to go through challenges and have growth. By the beginning of the film, Atwell she's out for herself. She very much she's a thief. She's got a criminal background, and by the end of the film, she's changed. She sees what she's doing as part of something that is potentially evil and can lead to horrible things. You know, if the AI gets out and whatnot, and the AI takes over the world and whatever. So she has to really. She changes her tune at the end and decides, you know, I'm going to change, which is what good character development is. You're one way at the beginning, and then you're another way at the end of the film. And so she does a really, really good job, and the writers understand how to write female characters as well. And there isn't the Disney model of writing female characters, which is basically, I think of a man, and then I put a female body on that man, and then there you go. You know, like in the recent film Indy 5, where Phoebe Waller-Bridge is basically just a really, really annoying man. You know, it's like they don't know how to write feminine characters. This film does that correctly, and Mission Impossible has a great track record of doing that as well. I think one of the things that the Mission Impossible series does really well is that it's self-aware. Good coffee today. And basically, putting that into the film, so every time it's explained, you know, you always got people going, "Are you serious? This must be a joke." You know, the Mission Impossible Force. Are you kidding me? But it's not just that. It's also that, you know, even the people that are in the film themselves, you know, Tom Cruise and whatnot, is when they're talking to other people, it's like, well, I'm just gonna have to jump off a cliff and I'll land on the train, you know. And then you get outsiders, like, and there's a great scene, you know, Haley Atwell is in there and they're explaining how they're gonna get onto the train towards the end of the film, and they're kind of going over the plan, and they're just like, well, I guess, you know, you'll have to get onto the train, and then you're going to have to take a parachute to get off of the train and all this. And she's just, you guys are crazy, you're insane, you're nuts. And it's just like, oh, well, you know, we do it all the time. It's just like another day in the life of this, you know, of us. And so there's that self-awareness, but also earlier on, there's a bomb they're trying to defuse, or they're trying to figure out how to not go off. You know, Benji, the character Benji's down there, and he's just, you know, like, why do we always end up in these situations? It's just that self-awareness that makes it fun. You know, we're not taking this too seriously. We can be serious when we need to be, right? When, you know, the stakes are really, really high. There's the drama elements and whatnot, but also they never lose sight of what Mission Impossible is, which is it's fun. It's stunts. It's what crazy thing are they going to do next? You know, how are they going to solve this impossible mission, right? That's the main goal, right? It's impossible. We can't do it. You'll figure it out. You know, to quote Tom Cruise, and he's saying, you know, you gotta do this. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but, you know, Tom Cruise says at one point, you know, it's just, you'll figure it out. I love that, because it's like, there as much planning as you can do, as meticulous as you can get it, and right down to the details. You got maps and blueprints. We're gonna get in, gonna get out. Sometimes it's just, you'll figure it out. And that's great for an action-adventure film. That's great for us as an audience, because we're like, how are they going to figure it out? You know, we can't wait to see what happens. And it's fantastic. And that spirit is kind of through all the Mission Impossible films, and it's, you know, it's right there front and center in this movie as well. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. Like I said, I've seen the movie 3 times, and you know the only real lingering problems that I can see is that it does have a lot of exposition, a lot of you know, explaining the plot and whatnot, or you know, just because it gets complicated and sometimes overcomplicated. But again, it has a really, really good pace, kind of comes to a little bit of a stop, but then gets moving again, and then just keeps going and keeps going until, you know, they finally get to the end where everything pays off. So you also have these, I believe they're both CIA agents, but they're basically federal agents for the U.S. government. You know, Shay Wigham, and then Greg Tarzan Davis. Yeah, so I'm familiar with Shay's work. He was in Boardwalk Empire, and then he just shows up in everything. He shows up as a cop in Joker. Basically, this character where he's sort of a you know, a professional of some kind, like a federal agent or something, and then he's chasing after the main character, or you know, like in Joker, he's a cop. In this film, he's a federal agent, and he keeps popping up in all these different places. Actually, he was in Skull Island as well, and he died really stupidly. But anyway, so the two of them are even well developed enough that they could have like their own spin-off sort of federal agent cop show kind of buddy comedy thing, because it's just everybody gets the attention that they need. And yeah, so and again, the only real issue is just sort of like a pacing issue, and that there's a lot of, you know, stopping to explain the plot scenes and before you get back to the action. But I mean, otherwise, I mean, it's a great movie. This movie is easily a 8 out of 10. It's an 8 out of 10. It may even be the best Mission Impossible film. If not, it's certainly tied for number 1. I think for me, it's tied with the last one, 6. I think they both bring the right stuff, so to speak. You know, Fallout brings the action, brings the great villains. Number 7 brings the comedy and the fun, and they actually complement each other really, really well, in a way. So yeah. Definitely go see this movie. I've seen this movie 3 times, and each time the theater was basically empty. So I don't know what's going on. No one's going to the theater anymore. I mean, I understand why it was empty for Indiana Jones 5. Nobody cares. I didn't care. I didn't want to be there. But again, I went there and I was like, maybe I'll be surprised and the film will be amazing. Nope, I was not surprised. The film was terrible. If you want to see my review of Indiana Jones 5, just go down in the videos tab and check that out. And then I also review Super Mario Brothers, you know, Guy Ritchie's new movies. It's all down in there. Go check those out in the video tabs. Also, if you enjoy this, my content, please leave a comment, subscribe, share this video with your friends, share it with your family. You just copy the link and, you know, post it on your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever. It would really help a lot with the algorithms. And please subscribe. All right. Have a good day. Bye.